Update AITA for telling my son I will never tell him who his biological father is. Story 1. Thanks to those of you who responded with advice and some tact. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to tell my son. I ended up calling my son's therapist. Yes, he does actually need one outside of this, and my concerns that he's going to take this badly are valid. Thanks to those of you who didn't make up a reality in which I'm lying about this, talking over what we could do, and deciding that this will be brought up during my son's next appointment, i.e. tomorrow. Thankfully, my son's therapist was more than happy to allow me, my husband, and my son to meet with him, which was quite helpful of him. Thanks to those of you who pointed out that I should ask to set up the appointment with him. Given that he's clearly proven to be very adept and apparently has experience in this sort of area, I think meeting with him is going to be the best case scenario, though I'm still dreading it. I've told my son this morning that I will tell him everything I can about his father, but that we'll be doing it with his therapist and dad, i.e. my husband, his stepfather, as soon as possible, and when he gets home tonight, I'll let him know that we'll be addressing it tomorrow. He didn't seem terribly excited once I mentioned that we will need to be with his therapist for it, but he thanked me for promising to tell him. I just hope it goes well. Oh, and to those of you who are doubting whether I was actually raped or not, be it because I decided to have my son or just generally because you're an asshole, FAKU. Sadly, Reddit won't let me say what I'd actually like to, but that should get the point across. P.S. Stop saying that essentially having to tell my son this is taking my power back or whatever. It absolutely isn't to me. I'm sure some people would feel empowered by it, but I feel very much disempowered by needing to do this. My power was held in being able to get as close to forgetting about it as possible, and sure, maybe that isn't the ideal way to respond, but it was absolutely the way that made me feel good and in control. Yes, I'd rather he know this from me than use an ancestry kit and contact biological relations without context, or with false context, but no, this gives me no power. Perhaps some of you would feel empowered in this situation, and that's fine, but I absolutely don't. First comment. Bunsame. I'm so sorry you went through the trauma you did, and that you'll have to revisit it in order to share the details with your son. Hard as it is, I think it's the right thing to do. You describe him as being hard on himself and one to blame himself, so while the news will be difficult, it will allow him to make any future decisions regarding his curiosity with all the details one would want. Besides, young people are sometimes impulsive and idealists. There was a story on here similar to yours where the child brought the bio dad to meet their mother as a surprise. I imagine if your son did something similar and then found out the truth, he'd be extremely hard on himself. I know I would. It's hard to make a choice that we know will hurt our kids. The impulse to protect them runs deep. But by ripping this band-aid off, you are protecting him from a different kind of pain down the line, and I'm so proud of you for finding a safe and healthy way to share this. I wish you all the luck with your continued healing, and I hope this meeting goes as well as one of this nature can. Best of luck to you. Second comment. Nike. I'm so sorry that you are having to still deal with fallout from your violation, and no one gets to tell you how you feel about that. If it weren't for DNA companies being so prevalent now, I would have told you that you were 100% in the right to keep it to yourself. Whether or not anyone else would have felt empowered by being forced into reliving their rape is irrelevant. All that matters is how you feel. I hope that you are also talking to a therapist to help you sort through this part of the fallout from your assault. People who think that you are lying because you kept the child not as an uncommon experience as some people think, or whatever other stupid reason they have, can yeet themselves into the sun. The range of reactions to being assaulted is so varied, and the devastation so widespread and long-lasting that no one who hasn't been through the experience can even come close to understanding. Even then, just because one person acted a certain way doesn't mean anyone else does. I'll be sending you positive vibes up, and I hope that it goes as well as it can for both you and your son. Story 2. AITA for divorcing my husband because he is in love with another woman? So, I've been debating posting this for a while now, but I really need some outside perspective on my situation. Basically, I recently made the tough decision to file for divorce for my husband because I found out he's in love with another woman. Yeah, it's a total cliche, I know, but let me give you some context. We've been together for 5 years, married for 2. Things were great at first, or so I thought. Then, out of nowhere, he starts acting weird, distant, and secretive. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, so I did some snooping. Yeah, I know, not my proudest moment, and found messages between him and this other woman. Turns out they've been seeing each other behind my back for months. I confronted him, and he admitted everything. He says he's confused and doesn't know what he wants, but he still loves me. But here's the thing, I can't just sit around waiting for him to figure it out while he's emotionally invested in someone else. AITA for putting my foot down and filing for divorce. First comment. You are absolutely not the asshole here. Discovering that your husband has been seeing another woman behind your back is a betrayal of trust and a breach of the commitment you made to each other in marriage. It's completely understandable that you would feel hurt, angry, and ultimately unable to continue the relationship under those circumstances. You've taken a difficult but necessary step in prioritizing your own well-being and standing up for yourself by filing for divorce. It's important to set boundaries and prioritize your own emotional health in situations like this. You deserve honesty, respect, and love in your relationship, and if your husband is unable to provide that, then it's entirely justified for you to move on and seek happiness elsewhere. Ultimately, you're taking control of your own life and making decisions that are best for you, which is commendable. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for prioritizing your own happiness and well-being. Second comment. Oh, love is a strange thing. Being human hurts. Is it not possible to love someone and still fall in love with someone else at the same time? Love isn't a feeling anymore, it's a choice you have to make. We are allowed to love family or friends, but once the natural instincts and uncontrollable attraction happens, and it's not delusionally exclusive, suddenly your love becomes invalid and fake even when it technically isn't, but we have made rules about what love should be. That is why when someone makes the fatal mistake to even come close to falling in love with someone while already in love with someone, they are considered trash. You cannot allow a situation for that to happen. Otherwise, you just have to lie, and we all constantly lie to each other, and ourselves as well. Being a good human is denying what is natural. Denying and controlling nature is what humanity is all about at the end of the day. Life on Earth is hundreds of millions of years old, but the new rules that have been vaguely agreed upon in the last few hundred, in spite of nature, is what we must follow and not deviate. I wonder what the people 200 years from now will be doing. Also, AP, pretty sure you gotta divorce him. Even if he decided to stop all contact with that other girl and that he chooses you and just wants you to give him another chance, ask yourself if you could live with that or trust him ever again. If you can't trust him, you can't be with him. There's no way to recover from this, and it's not an overreaction. He made his decisions, and I'm really sorry this has happened to you. And I apologize I snorted an Ambien, and pretty sure I'm dreaming right now. Third comment. NTA. There was a time for when you could save the marriage, while still having room for his confusion it was when he felt it the first time, and before any affair, emotional or physical, started. Now he's made his choice to knowingly betray you and the vows he's made. Why should you work to fix what he broke? He had no want to fix it before confronted. You deserve someone who will prioritize you, also when that means they'll have to have uncomfortable conversations for the sake of honesty and trust. Your husband didn't do that.